I want to start with a poem by the great 11th century Judeo-Spanish poet Samuel Hanagid. At times of great fear, strengthen your heart, even if you stand at death's door. The lamp still has light before it is extinguished, and the wounded lion still knows how to roar. Some people say that a part of Sephardic culture, Ladino, is indeed standing at death's door. But I am here to tell you that, like a wounded lion, Ladino still knows how to roar. I want to share with you in the next few minutes why Ladino is so special and why its survival should matter to you. First off, what is Ladino?
Ladino. Okay.
Yeah, Ladino. I've had to guess. It sounds like some kind of meal, pasta meal.
Who's your favorite Ladino artist on the scene today?
I would say my favorite Ladino artist is probably Dino from the Flintstones.
Do you think that the rise of Ladino will ever reach the same international scope as Harry Potter?
No.
What about the Smurfs?
Probably.
Yeah. You could describe Ladino in one adjective. What would it be? That was perfect.
I can tell you that Ladino, also known as Judeo-Spanish or Judaismo, is most certainly not a pasta. What really is Ladino, and why does it matter? To understand, first we need to know what it means to be Sephardic. Today, the word Sephardic has come to encompass most Jews who are not Ashkenazi. But this is far too simple. Every ethnic group has its own distinct identity. When I refer to Sephardic Jews, I'm talking about those Jews who originally came from Sepharad, the Hebrew word for Spain. Historians like to point out that Jews and Spain are inextricably linked. If you take the word Iberia, the area that encompasses Spain, and you put an H in front of it, you get something that looks a lot like the word Hebrew. In other words, the Hebrews and Iberia are interwoven. We have been bound together for so long that we do not exist without the other. Sephardic Jews were in the Iberian Peninsula for centuries, since at least the 5th century and most likely earlier, contributing to the life around them in countless ways. Up until the 15th century, Sephardic Jews were influential merchants, artisans, academics, astronomers, and they held high positions as physicians and poets and government officials under both Muslim and Christian rule. Things started to get a little dicey, though, leading up to 1492, when Jews, among others, were expelled from Iberia. Those who did not convert dispersed primarily along the Mediterranean coast in North Africa. The majority ended up, as my own family did, in the Ottoman Empire. This is where Ladino comes in. The Jews who left Spain took the Castilian Spanish they had been speaking and combined it with bits and pieces of languages from all the countries where they later settled. 500 years later, Ladino is a pan-Mediterranean dialect with Spanish at its core, mixed in with a little Portuguese, Italian, French, Turkish, Greek, Hebrew, and more. For centuries, it was the primary language of thousands and thousands and thousands of Jews. It was the first language of my own grandfather, and it is still spoken across the globe today. Ladino crosses centuries and dozens of geographic boundaries. It is more than just a language. It is also a culture. Ladino is represented in poems and proverbs, songs and jokes, books and plays that depict the life of a major portion of Jewish culture over the last 5 centuries. Ladino has had the power and durability, even today, to bind thousands of Jews together through a shared Hispanic past. It is truly universal. I believe that one cannot fully understand Jewish history without understanding the place of Sephardic culture within it. Sephardic history is Jewish history. Prior to the Holocaust, the most recent major modern event that dramatically altered Jewish history was the Spanish Inquisition. It single-handedly redrew the geography of the Jewish landscape. And yet, we live in a world today in which it seems like nearly everyone, Jewish or not, has heard of Yiddish. But only a handful have heard of Ladino. I am here to tell you that there is more to Sephardic Jews than that we enjoy eating rice on Passover. Did you know there are approximately 2.25 million Sephardic Jews around the world today? There are approximately 250,000 Sephardic Jews right here in the US. Sephardic Jewry has influenced your lives in more ways than you probably realize. Maimonides, Sephardic. The song Lecha Dodi that we all know and love, written by Shlomo Alkabetz, Sephardic. The great Jewish legal code, the Shulchan Aruch, written by Yosef Karo, Sephardic. The way many of you pronounce modern Hebrew today, Sephardic. The very first Jews to settle here in America, from Recife, Brazil, Sephardic. The first Jewish lawyer in the Western Hemisphere, Michael Cardoso, Sephardic. And wait, there's more. The Statue of Liberties, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, written by Emma Lazarus, Sephardic. In art, the great Modigliani and Pissarro, Sephardic. In philosophy, Spinoza, Derrida, Sephardic. In music, Neil Sedaka, will even claim Paula Abdul, Sephardic. In the fashion world, Sephardic Diane Von Furstenberg. I mean, where would women be today without the wrap dress? My hair right now, Vidal Sassoon, Sephardic. And of course, the world would not be the same without the inimitable Sephardic Hank Azaria's voice on The Simpsons. These are but just a few examples of the countless contributions Sephardim have made in the world today. So why is it so difficult to keep Ladino culture alive today? One reason is that proportionally, our numbers are much smaller now since after the Holocaust. Entire Sephardic communities were eliminated. For example, many people don't think much about Greece during World War II. Did you know that 87% of Greece's Jewish population was exterminated, and nearly all of them were Sephardic? 87%. With so many Sephardic Jews killed, so too did the world lose much of Ladino language and culture. We might be small in number now, but we are not small in importance and impact on the global Jewish community. As we say in Ladino, todos los dedos de la mano no son unos. All the fingers of the hand are not the same. Diversity is good. It's what makes Judaism so special. I believe that sharing these stories and preserving Sephardic culture should not only be the responsibility of the Sephardic community, but rather we as a Jewish peoplehood should care about the diversity of Jewish life that makes up our history as a whole. This is my grandfather, the one in the sombrero, taken around 1905 in his hometown of Monastir, which is now in present-day Macedonia. He's obviously part of my history, but he is also part of yours. Sephardic culture is Jewish culture. It's one of the many parts that make up our shared peoplehood, and it is worth learning about, cherishing, and passing along. As I stand here pregnant with ideas and physically with child, I can't help but think how we, as a Jewish people, want to pass lessons on to our children about our traditions. I want my children to know that we come from a diverse history with many distinct languages, cultures, songs, and foods. As a Ladino singer, my forthcoming album is an original Ladino children's album called Hora de Despertar, Time to Wake Up. Hora de despertar, hora de despertar, hora de aferrar el día. Hora de despertar, es un nuevo día. It's time to wake up, time to catch the day. It's time to wake up. It's a brand new day. It really is a brand new day for Ladino culture. Our history is in danger of becoming extinct. No one will ever be born again speaking Ladino as a first language. But that doesn't mean it's not worth preserving. We need the Jewish peoplehood's help to keep this integral part of Jewish history alive. It's time to wake up. Efforts are being made around the globe to preserve Ladino. There are still newspapers being published in Ladino, e-zines, Yahoo groups with thousands of active members from over 40 countries who communicate only using Ladino, countless Facebook groups, international symposia, and more. There are 4 major universities in the US alone that teach Ladino, and many artists, musicians, writers, and academics who are working tirelessly to bring our culture to wider audiences. And there is also a renewed interest in Sephardic religious expression, such as bringing piyutim, Hebrew prayers set to Sephardic melodies, to modern synagogues today, and a mass effort to collect and digitize Ladino religious texts so anyone can have access to them. Technology has certainly helped preservation efforts by linking Ladino speakers and enthusiasts across the globe. I use technology actually quite a bit in my own work, including designing video games so more people can learn Ladino songs. And there are fun, easy things you can do to expose yourselves to Sephardic culture. Try a Sephardic recipe next time for Passover. It doesn't have to include rice. Learn a Ladino song with your children. Read some romantic Judeo-Spanish poetry with your partner. It's time to wake up. Ladino is still part of a living, breathing culture, but it won't stay that way without our collective commitment to keeping it so. Sephardic culture is Jewish culture. You may not have been born into Sephardic ancestry, but it is part of your history, and it is an integral part of what makes Jewish culture Jewish. Thank you.
Another great tool that we have is music. Actually, I'd like to try something with you guys, okay? With everyone here in the room. I'd like to teach you this musical phrase that I need you to repeat it nonstop, okay? All the time. You can actually take a deep breath because there's a lot of air needed for this one, okay? But a lot of energy, okay? You can move yourselves on the chairs for a little bit, okay? It goes like this. I'm gonna do it first, okay? It goes like this. Doom doom chaka taka doom doom chaka taka doom doom chaka taka doom ga doom ga doom 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 chaka taka doom doom chaka taka doom doom chaka taka doom ga doom ga doom. Don't stop. Doom doom chaka taka. Okay, louder. Chaka taka doom. Don't stop. Don't stop. Oi 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 oi.